ordering. Perhaps glucosamine has been one of those products that you have looked at the reviews on. Andrew, feeling younger, feeling better, feeling that flexibility maintained is what it's all about.
And it's interesting. Because of the way I had positioned my vitamins at my house, I've been taking my marine collagen peptides and things like that.
Right.
And the bottle of glucosamine chondroitin kind of got segregated off.
Okay.
So what I realized that for about 2 or 3 weeks, I wasn't taking my glucosamine chondroitin.
Uh-oh.
And I was kind of wondering why, and I literally just started again 2 or 3 days ago. I started wondering why my body was talking to me again, because this is an ingredient that I have used religiously since 1979, wow. Actually 1978, 1979. Back as an athlete, I realized a long time ago, the degree to which I took care of my joints was the degree to which my joints were going to take care of me in terms of athletic performance and recovery. Now, at a more mature age, now it's about how well I could take care of my joints so I could remain as active as I would like to be for the rest of my life. In fact, now even in all the sports I do, I used to see how fast I could ride my mountain bike uphill and then see how fast I could ride downhill. Crashing several times and not recovering from crashes as well as I did when I was young, I now see how fast I can go uphill and how slow I'm willing to go downhill. Because as I often say, we just don't recover as well from the minor things anymore. So when it comes to sports, I think when it comes to life, we try to do as much as we can to enjoy life without compromising our long-term health, without compromising the integrity of our joints. And when it comes to maintaining and repairing our joints, not even sports come into play when we talk about what we do on a daily basis, the hours we spend standing or sitting or moving around. It places tremendous demands on these joints. What would you say about a hinge in a door, or a cabinet in a door in a house that would last 100 years? You'd go, wow, that's unbelievably well designed. Sure. That's what we expect all the joints in our hands, our wrists, our elbows, our shoulders, our hips, and we are challenged by the very nature of how we live. So glucosamine chondroitin, not a drug, not a medicine, not a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, as many companies like to position it, but I think even better in that it's the actual structural material that your body uses to manage, to repair, and maintain your joint tissue.
And Andrew, one of the things that I do want to ask you about, and obviously folks, just before I do actually pricing, because we're doing a couple of quick presentations before we get to our today's special. If you do want to order the glucosamine, here is what we're looking at. 4 different sizes, 61, 22, 44, 80. This is where the pricing normally is. This is the special pricing because you're buying it today. So instead of $5, it's under 100. So instead of $204.60, it's $99.90, and it's on FlexPay. That's a significant saving. You're saving more than you're spending. So you save more money than you're spending, maximizing certainly the savings and maximizing not only, you know, quality of life. Because we feel it, we all feel it as we get older. I mean, I've had knee issues for a long time. It's a long story, I'll tell you later. But the truth of the matter is, when you don't feel as flexible, you've got the aches and pains, it really drags you down, it brings you down. If your body is talking to you and it's saying that it needs something, you know, Andrew's glucosamine chondroitin is gonna really supply. Here's the question I was gonna ask Andrew though. Andrew, this glucosamine product is different to many others out there.
Well, that's another one of those examples where the companies that make the typical products you'll see at say the big box stores or even pharmacies, grocery stores, they would like you to think that all glucosamine is created equal and all chondroitin is created equal. And again, nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, the scientific charts I have here talk about the fact that the form of glucosamine talked about in the research is glucosamine sulfate, not glucosamine hydrochloride. Unfortunately, the majority of glucosamine you now see on the market is glucosamine hydrochloride because it's much less expensive to throw it into a product. And that's basically what they do. They throw it into a product that isn't going to give you the scientifically supported benefits that you seek. It's going to be less expensive, but you get what you pay for. So again, when you're going to be taking glucosamine and chondroitin, it needs to be the proper form. It needs to be at the proper level. And again, 1,500 milligrams of glucosamine sulfate. If you follow the research, that means you're actually delivering 2,000 milligrams of glucosamine sulfate, and you're delivering 1,500 milligrams of glucosamine in the form of glucosamine sulfate, 2,000 milligrams. So and when it comes to chondroitin sulfate, it's the 1,200 milligrams of the entire molecule chondroitin sulfate. But these are the things you need to know. Also, most chondroitin sulfate on the market is a source of sodium. For those of us watching our blood pressure levels, or just anyone, I think we consume way too much sodium, even if we don't have blood pressure. And I have low blood pressure, and I tend to watch my sodium intake again because we get too much sodium in the typical American diet. But we only add to that with the typical form of chondroitin. So, to Adam's point, yes, we are, all of these products are very, very different. And it's really up to us to try to educate ourselves. I know it's difficult because most of the companies out there, they really don't want you to know because they're busy putting things in their products that they prefer you not know. So we or I prefer that you know the difference, so at least you're intelligently determining, you're making an informed decision as to what you want to put in your body.
So Andrew, I said I had a surprise for you.
Yes.
Well, first thing is, of course, there's your
Thank you. I was looking for my hat.
I noticed that over the time I've been here, I feel, you give me this wonderful coat to wear. I think it's only time that Mr. Andrew Lessman, you have yours.
Do I have my own coat? Wow.
With Andrew's name tag on it right there. It's about time, sir. I present this to you as a gift.
Thank you so much. I'll never take it off. I'll sleep in it.
I can only imagine. You should walk around to the supermarket in it.
Yes.
Everybody will know. This is Andrew Lessman from ProCaps. Well, Andrew, sir, obviously your facility is something that you are so proud of.
Yes.
Incredible men and women that work here. Let's go on a little tour.
I now feel so much more. I used to feel sort of naked walking around here. Not anymore.
It's wonderful.
So shall we do a little stroll?
We ready?
Bye, guys. Bye, pups, the dogs.
Bye, guys. We'll see you in a little bit.
We'll see you over there, Link.
He's looking over. Where are you two going?
He knows.